So, there are these aliens who decide to invade Earth after their home planet was stricken by this terrible sickness. And their lands were ravaged by a plight that began as this looming shadow that crept across the face of each city and the face of each great mountain range and the faces of each of the men and women and children aliens. And the shadows, they moved slowly, but without escape. Every corner of the planet was eventually caressed by those soft silhouettes that held the world in its arms. Everyone felt its weight. Everyone walked their paths each day as the looming grew steadily and the faces melted into a blackness behind a veil so dark that eventually it was common to tote a flashlight if you needed to see. It was common to be lost. You could struggle. You could struggle if you wanted to see through the dark. As lonely as it might be, or you could let go and lose yourself. Some stayed in bed because it was safe. You do not need to see in order to sleep because you do not need to fight the looming if you are stationary because you become it. There are some aliens who thought there was life on other planets. There were those who dreamed in the stars because they were bright and you could see them without a flashlight. The brightness brought hope. The brightness reminded them of the brightness that was there before. The brightness that filled the streets with a lightness to be wrought in. That was the light in the eyes of each of the aliens, all reduced to embers. There was a brightness out there, just beyond reach. So to prepare, they sent a few of their finest and bravest alien scientists and behavioralists and ecologists and philosophers to examine us and understand us. But first, they had to find us. To find what was hiding behind the closest bright spot in the sky. To find a world that had not been ravaged and misused. To find a brightness that covered the entire sky and ground. A world where the shadows were only an accessory, not a whole outfit. So this most intrepid troop of aliens gathered on their most sky-worthy vessel. And with them they brought all of their remaining light that was saved up from the shadow's appetite, so that they might stand a chance, a fighting chance, in the dark to make it all the way to Earth, all the way to our blue planet. And on their way, the journey was tortuous. The darkness is infinite in space. And traveling at light speed makes for great time, but to avoid, you have to avoid the most inspiring roadside attractions to go that fast. Yet it pays to have intent, to have it focused. On your horizon, you will find us teetering down a particularly large wave of asteroids. They could see the brightness of a large, proud star opening its large embrace in defiance to infinity. The aliens stood to marvel and wait until the fabled blue orb would pass. At first, it went unnoticed. Another shade within the shadows, and probably it would have passed completely if not for a small, hopeful alien adventurer that could not sleep. So she took to the porthole and kept an eye on the future just to see a small, dark orb that had kept one light on just for her. Thanks so much.